listening to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast Network's coverage of the NCPA 2025 Post Show. The NCPA annual conference is the trailblazer for community pharmacy, bringing together the pharmacy community. Our host, Todd Eury, founder and CEO of the Pharmacy Podcast Network, took the microphone to the action right on the show floor, capturing exclusive conversations with attendees, pharmacy students, keynote speakers, vendors, and more. You don't want to miss this three-part series starting right now. Thank you, RealValueRx, for sponsoring this episode of the NCPA Post Show.
Hey, this is JD. I'm with RealValueRx, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
JD, welcome back. We're at NCPA 2025. We're here at your booth. This has been such a good time already. Talk to me. What is happening in the world of Real Value? You're keeping us out of jail with the DSCSA stuff, but talk to me about some updates from Real Value.
I don't think they've talked about jail time, so that's good. Yeah, we're fully compliant. We're ready to go. We are connecting people left and right. Pharmacies, the larger ones are due next month. Mm-hmm. Smaller ones due in a year.
Okay.
But distributors and manufacturers, we're due already. It's already passed for us.
See, that's lots of confusion since the whole thing came out 5, 6, 7 years ago, whatever. At first we were told what that even meant, and then there's been some deadlines that keep moving. I'm glad that you guys are always giving us updates as to what's really happening. Talk to me about those smaller pharmacies. What should they be doing right now in preparation?
Well, take it from those of us who've already converted to this new system. Do not wait, because you will kill yourself. You will really knock yourself out trying to get it done by the deadline, because I really doubt they're going to extend it for the small pharmacies. So just find a vendor and sign up with them, and let them take care of it for you, and then just go back to sleep comfortably.
Talk to me about some of the expansion of what Real Value's been doing for your client base and helping independent community pharmacies thrive, especially some of the new products that you're bringing in.
We have an entire suite of new products coming. We've got robotic automation that's in place. We are expanding that further. We have conveyors. We have all kinds of automation coming into our warehouse to continue expanding and expanding. Our message is resonating with people, and we are growing, and we hope to, work with more and more people.
It's the biggest booth here at NCPA. It's fun to be in the middle of it all. I feel like I'm part of a bigger network. We have like 3 other organizations that are all part of this conglomerate. I just love it. JD, thanks for being part of the NCPA Post Show.
Absolutely. Good to see you again.
Hi, this is Rachel Matz from DocStation, and you're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
The evolution of independent community pharmacy includes the expansion of clinical services. We are here with Rachel Matz from DocStation. Can I call DocStation the OG system, the OG platform, electronic health record for pharmacists?
Yeah, you certainly can. I'm all right with that.
There's a bunch of them that are coming out, which is wonderful, because we need that technology. We need pharmacists to start doing things that are much more disease state management driven. But DocStation, you guys, over 10 years ago?
A little less than that, but somewhere around 8 or so. Yeah, definitely came into the scene, really focusing on value-based care and expanding really what the pharmacist is capable of doing, but really wanting to put the word out there and getting the pharmacist in the forefront as part of the clinical team for a patient.
So when I think of specialty pharmacy, that would be the environment that it would be easiest to implement a system where you're slowing the transaction or the time down with the patients to really dig into things. Community pharmacy, one of the harder kind of environments to do that in because of the busyness. How are you teaching community pharmacies, independent community pharmacies, to leverage DocStation. You know, everybody has those extra rooms that they never use for patient counseling, and there's a bunch of boxes in them and stuff, but it's a time to resurrect that whole patient engagement. So talk to me about how you're coaching pharmacists to engage and to use the DocStation.
Well, I think that what a lot of folks don't realize is it's work that they're already doing. So this isn't intended to change workflow. It isn't intended to add a burden to the already overburdened pharmacy, right? And the concept of billing for medical encounters, these are medical encounters that pharmacists are having every day. It's within their scope. It's what they're trained to do. They're providing medically necessary information back to the patients, and who better to do it. But the kind of misconception, I think, is that it's hard. It's something that's difficult to implement. And in reality, the way that I teach and the way that I train to be able to bill medically and use a platform like ours is think about the things that you're already doing. And you routinely counsel patients. You routinely provide guidance on what vaccines are due, or why, when coming in for a new condition, and being able to provide that medically necessary information. Now, what a lot of folks don't realize is those are billable events. Those are billable events that a pharmacist should be taking advantage of, and a platform like ours, is there to help them make that process easier.
All right, let's talk about implementation for just a second, but I'm going to come back to that. Let's talk about an API between DocStation and the pharmacy management systems. What systems are you working with to make it as easy as possible to implement? Yeah,
sure. So DocStation has an API connection with several different PMS systems, Liberty, Pioneer, DRX. However, outside of that, I think it's important to recognize that regardless of the PMS, pharmacies can still use a platform like DocStation's to be able to incorporate patient care, document patient care, and bill for patient care.
Excellent. All right, implementation question. How long would you say it takes a community pharmacy to get trained and to start using and start seeing revenue changes for their business?
Good question. And I think it really depends on what the pharmacy wants to focus on. So depending on their state, there's a lot of different opportunities. The biggest or the easiest way in, I guess, is to really focus on what can we do for vaccine revenue. We're in vaccine season now.
Yep.
And so I think that it's important to recognize what are the opportunities that a pharmacy has from a business perspective to expand that revenue opportunity, and vaccines are it. Anytime that we can encourage a pharmacy to look critically at what they can bill medically, that's where we want to start. And vaccines are part of that. And so the ability for a pharmacist or pharmacy to quickly come in, realize they have medical opportunities to bill for a vaccine that they're already dispensing to a patient or administering to a patient. When you have the opportunity to bypass the PBM, we want to help them be able to do that. And realize the extra revenue, $35, $40 more per vaccine.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to consider, and that's the easiest way in with DocStation, to really realize and hone in on that. Outside of vaccine revenue, the ability to bill medically for consultations, for MTMs, for point of care, things like that. It's obviously, it depends on what state you're in, but the ability is there. And so for us to quickly come in, have a pharmacy recognize that they have uncaptured revenue through vaccines, get them in the door quickly. Pretty easy to turn around, 1 to 2 weeks maybe.
Yep.
Outside of that, when you really look at, especially a pharmacy that's not used to incorporating medical billing into their workflow, it does take some effort. It does take some realization on the pharmacy's end, training staff, making sure that they're realizing these are medically necessary events and they're opportunities that we should be billing for. But, kind of outside of the first initial wave of vaccines, getting those through the door, then we can certainly expand into more clinical opportunities as well.
Rachel Matz, DocStation, thanks for being here at the NCPA 2025 press coverage post show.
Absolutely. Of course. Happy to be here.
Hey, listeners, hang on. We'll be right back. Johny Kello, MatchRx. Johny, I remember when MatchRx first came out. I was blown away. I was one of your fans over 10 years ago. I want to announce, and it's like I'm excited that this is the first time we're saying on Pharmacy Podcast Network, you're doing a 3-part series with us on This Week in Pharmacy. We're going to be digging into MatchRx. Talk to us a little bit about MatchRx. What is that platform? Why should independent community pharmacies be paying attention?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Todd, and looking forward to that 3-part series. So MatchRx was started 15 years ago by my business partner, who's a pharmacist, and myself. We started with 3 pharmacies with the idea to help independent pharmacies buy and sell their overstock drugs with one another. And we've been fortunate enough to grow to about 7,200 pharmacies over those years. And we've got a very active community, a very active marketplace. So again, everyone's been in that situation where they have a product and they can't get rid of it, or it's going to expire. And we are that outlet. And we've been fortunate enough to gain, the primary market share in the space. And then recently, we just launched the ability for our secondary wholesalers to sell to our members as well. So we have a dozen secondary wholesalers. We just signed up ANDA, so ANDA's going to be, and I think we're one of 1 or 2 marketplaces that will have ANDA on the marketplace. PrimeRx just recently adopted us as well, and just continue to grow. And so we're looking forward to helping independents more and more in different ways, and we've got a few other opportunities that are coming down the pipeline. And then the big piece that we are really focusing on is the DSCSA and the compliance piece of it for independent pharmacies. Recently partnered up with LSpedia to help independents marry together with LSpedia, and there'll be more of that to come down the road.
Well, we're looking forward to the 3-part series starting on Twerks, TWIRX, This Week in Pharmacy with John Kello and the MatchRx team. John, this has been great to catch up with you here at NCPA. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Todd. Have a good day.
John DeJames, Value Drug Company here at the NCPA 2025. It's so good to see you.
Always good to see you, Todd.
All right, let's get into this. Challenges with independent community pharmacy. I mean, every time something changes in PBM reform, or every time there's a new policy, or every time we're like pushing for provider status, whether it's at the state level or national level, there's all these things that come up that we have to like keep in mind of what challenges lie ahead. So from Value Drugs perspective, you've always done a good job of kind of staying ahead of a lot of stuff, notifying members of things that are happening. What do you want to bring to the attention to our listeners and some of what's happening at Value Drugs?
So I think the uniqueness with Value Drugs, since I've been there now, and I'm coming up on 6 years, we have a strategy team led by Nicole Hassan, myself. I'm on that team also with Margie Lyden. We all have basic disciplines in the pharmaceutical world, in the pharmacy world. Nicole's more the strategy director long term. What are we doing for our members to keep them front and center focused on the issues of pharmacy? I work on some of the clinical stuff. I do a little bit of business development when some of our members are either looking to buy or looking to sell. And then Margie, she sets herself up with the long-term care facility, which is the combo shop it's a lifesaver, especially on the Western Pennsylvania side, with Express Scripts being I don't want to say the preferred PBM, but the PBM that Highmark uses along with UPMC. It's vital if we can do combo shop, and our guys they do a good job with brand drugs. Most people run away from brand drugs, but if you can fit that patient into that combo model, it's a lifesaver. I mean, you're now making a profit on a brand drug. I mean, when's the last time anybody ever heard that? Most people are running away from brand drugs.
True.
So Value's always had that ability to stay front and center, being member focused and being patient focused, because, I don't have to tell you, you already know this. We are very heavily involved, not just with PPA, but we're also heavily involved with PPCN, which is the CPSN affiliate of Pennsylvania. The payer contracts that we have through PPCN, our guys, they utilize them very well, and girls, they utilize them very, very well. And once again, if you're just focusing on product now, you're probably out of business. Yeah. It has to be a more, I don't want to say wholesome model, but it has to be all-encompassing. That's what's really making a difference. So are you doing immunizations? Are you pushing provider status? Have you got your pharmacist signed up? Just recently, we just rolled out a technician training program. That's vital. How many technicians are in independent space?
Yep.
We have till June of next year. So, staying in front of the issues that matter to just our members that also affect those members' patients, I think that's the uniqueness of Value Drug. And
the other uniqueness that I see from Value, and I think this is more coming from you than anyone on the team, at least from my perspective, is you always invest in the schools of pharmacy. And I'm always seeing you do Decane, or I'm seeing you doing something with Pitt, or seeing you do something that just gets more knowledge to them, to let them know that, hey, it's not just retail, it's not just community. There's other things happening in pharmacy, and it's bringing that business knowledge to those students at that P3, P4 level, so they really start using their imaginations of where they're going to take their own careers.
Yeah, the fun part about that is, I always say this to students, everybody wants to get a six-figure paycheck, but they don't know where the six figures are coming from. So
true.
We try to educate them on, what's the profit look like per script? Some don't even know where to look like on the adjudication, where to find that information. To be sustainable, the business has to be sustainable. And I think the biggest thing with students, and I'm not knocking academia, so it's just sometimes that's not always taught on the university.
True.
So when we have, whether it's API rotations, IP rotations, when we can get that, when we can get in front of those students, and we do a lot of work on both sides of the state, when we can get in front of those students and let them know this is it. And, truthfully, like when I went to school and when these kids are going to school, 70% used to go into retail.
Mm-hmm.
I go to these graduations, 75% are going into residencies.
Yeah.
So, how do we flip that model? And, I always think like, the big buzzword on the residency side, everyone wants to do AMP care. I want to do AMP care. You work at a community site, you're a provider, you could sit down, you could actually talk to the patient, let's just say right now about 25 things that you might be able to bill. You could do social determinants of health. You can follow up on maybe their diabetes or their COPD, asthma. It's kind of like AMP care in a community setting. So,
yeah.
And you get to do that every day.
Yeah.
So, I think the benefits of just saying it, because community gets a bad rap. I don't have to tell you why. Specifically what happened with all the Rite Aid closures, with Walgreens being sold to private equity, which is probably more beneficial now than it was previously. But that's, so we at the end of the day, John DeJames is going to retire sooner or later, whether he wants to or not. The future is who we got to help get to the next level. I had a lot of mentors that helped me get to where I am. I love mentoring students, telling them about just the business world and how to succeed in it.
Yeah. John DeJames, Value Drug, appreciate you stopping by at the NCPA's post-show 3-part series, being part of this. It's always good to talk to you.
Always good to see you, Todd. Appreciate what you do for us and the profession.
Oh, thank you.
Take care.
Welcome to RealValueRx, a national NABP accredited pharmaceutical wholesaler focused on helping pharmacies purchase smarter. We offer smarter pricing and better margins with access to short-dated deals, closeouts, and competitive generic pricing to protect your bottom line. We look out for our independent and community pharmacies with flexible ordering and net 30 terms. With direct access to over 150 manufacturer relationships, reducing intermediaries, and improving product availability. Whether you're an independent pharmacy, a clinic, long-term care, or a regional chain, we're here to bring your pharmacy real value. Learn more at RealValueRx.com.
Double-packed interview here with Jay Phipps and Stephanie Zimmerman. Welcome to the Pharmacy Podcast Network's coverage of NCPA 2025. Jay, it's great to see you.
Great to be here. Always great to be with these pharmacy gladiators at NCPA.
Absolutely. Stephanie, thank you so much for being one of our sponsors this year. This is very important for us to be able to get to these events, and working with Real Value has been a huge education for our organization, but more importantly, our listeners.
Thank you, Todd. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Hey, let's talk about the business of pharmacy. So things have changed. I remember when I was trying to run the pharmacy GPO small buying group for a little while, and the difference between buying majority of your products from a primary wholesaler, the strictness of the contracts, I jettison myself 10 years later, and it's a completely different universe. From a pharmacy owner's perspective, Jay, talk to me about the balance now of primary, secondary, and some of the strategy that goes into that.
I really think now you need every tool in your toolbox, and so we need primary wholesalers. They give us access to products that we can't get everywhere, and then secondary wholesalers also give us pricing and products and dating that we can't get sometimes through a primary wholesaler, and we're in a very tight, low margin business, and because of that, we need to be looking at all the avenues of revenue streams and cost containment.
Stephanie, you're seeing this day in and day out. You've been around long enough to understand some of the challenges that our pharmacy owners are going through. Talk to us about how Real Value is stepping in as a strategic partner and really helping profitability to return to the mix.
Yes, thanks, Todd. So I want everyone to know about Real Value, because what we have to offer, yes, we can save you money on your retail meds, your generics, but we can actually help you make money and have profitability on medications that you continually lose money on just by a small vehicle change. And we take some higher AWPs that's actually therapeutic for the patient, which is extremely important to Real Value. But we do a small change, and then we work exclusively with a few manufacturers, so we can help you make money in that sense where you're actually profitable. Metformin, for instance, a Metformin 625 and a 750. I always love to share my story with that, because everyone fills a Metformin 500. We make what, Jay? Nothing.
Nothing. A dollar. We'll go with the dollar.
Yeah, let's say $1. So you're making zero money, but how often are you filling it? And it's something that the prescribers need to know about, because what we can do and what we do know is patients are not compliant in taking their medications because of upset stomach or things like that, and especially with metformin. So what we have is a 625 or a 750, and if we could cut out a dose and help the patient become more compliant, then we're doing our job as a pharmacist, as a pharmacy. We let the physician know, which, Real Value has all of the marketing material. We help you go to your physicians so they can actually write for drugs that are actually profitable for the pharmacy, but then therapeutic for the patient.
Trying new things, Jay, are not easy, and there's been an entire emphasis as the Pharmacy Gladiator continues to bring on new members and more people that understand what you're doing, what you stand for. Change as a pharmacy owner is sometimes just as scary. Talk to us about some of the business issues that you've gone through as a pharmacy owner, that you had to make some decisions to make a change, and how uncomfortable maybe that was in getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. The fear of change is one of the biggest things that people talk about. I've traveled the country on my Freedom from Fear tour, and people talk about things that get in their way and how fear impacts them and their individuals, their teams, and their organizations. And really, fear of change is really high up that list, probably only second to fear of failure, which really seems to resonate with people. And in the fear of change, we just celebrated our 25th anniversary as a pharmacy.
Nice.
I graduated pharmacy school, did residency, and my residency project was open a community pharmacy. And so I started that 25 years ago in June. Small, fairly successful pharmacy, and after 25 years, I just picked up and we moved. And so not very far, but several miles down the road, we left the safety net of a doctor's office where we knew we had a certain amount of business and would always have a certain amount of business. And now we moved out what we call on the highway. When you're in small towns, you go from little places to out on the highway. And it took me forever. I was frozen in fear. Fear impacts people by fight, flight, or freeze, and you're frozen, and that fear of change will keep you from taking a decision. What we've seen is we've been in the new location for a couple months. Since the last quarter, we've grown 30% since the move. So the potential is there. And, so it's easy to look back and go, well, what could I have done if I had done that earlier? Of course, you just take advantage of the opportunity you have now. You can't do anything about what happened in the past. You just, look back and go, all right, well, let's make decisions faster. And, from a business perspective, whether that's, adding a program, innovating, adding a vendor, adding a new service, whatever that is, I have found in my Flip Your Fear narrative framework says make it fast. Like, make that decision, evaluate it, and if you want to do business, if you want to innovate, do it now. And if you want to add a service, do it now. Or don't do it. It doesn't matter what the decision is, but decide. And keep the fear of change from halting your progress and ultimately reaching your destiny.
Stephanie, Phipps Pharmacy has 4 locations. You probably have lots of clients out there that have that 4, 3, 5, 6.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about bringing on Phipps Pharmacy, not a customer, to become a customer. Talk to me about that process. How difficult is that?
Oh my gosh, it's so easy. I mean, so you sign up, of course, it doesn't cost you anything, but then when you sign up, you get complete access to our portal. You get access to our portal, to all of our medications, to all of our flexible dosing items, and those are the higher AWP items. And it's just, and then you have all of our marketing material. You get access to an account executive that is assigned directly to your account, and so we can communicate to the customer, to the pharmacy, any way you desire, which would be a text or an email, or you can order online. So actually, we were just talking, and Jay is going to sign his 4 pharmacies up with us. And again, we can make you money, save you money, and then just help you thrive, because we're, at the end of the day, there's not any industry out there that is not allowed to make money. I mean, we have to make money. We have to be profitable. We have to pay our staff. We have to keep moving and help those patients out there. So that's what Real Value is all about, and I'm excited to say Jay is going to understand all of this, because we're going to be opening up his accounts and working with him as well.
So if there's a fear of adding a new vendor, we just got over it.
Yeah, we may just have to make sure we get good video of this and make sure it'll be on TikTok before the end of the week.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, so we're going to make it super simple for Jay, and it is anyway. I mean, it's just basically signing a few things and getting you signed up, and then you have access to our portal where you will see the real value that we have and offer.
Literally. Well, both of you have been friends of mine for years. I love seeing people come together. I love being a bridge builder and being able to do more together, because Together RX is like a whole motto that I believe in, being able to make us not only survive but thrive, so we can get to the next level for our communities. Your community relies on you, Jay. I know things that have happened in the past that you were there for them. The big flood that happened years ago. I love telling that story and how you stood up. Stephanie, your relationships, every time I see somebody come in the Real Value booth and you're giving them a hug and they're looking at you and their relationship with you, like, that's what the important part of this. It's not necessarily I'm going to save you a bunch of money and we're going to help you be profitable, but you can rely on me, and that's the type of person that you are as well. So thank you guys for being here on the show. I really appreciate it.
Todd. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch, Todd. Honored to be here.
Hi, this is Brad Gallagher from Barclay, Damon. We're here at the 2025 NCPA Annual Convention, and I'm on the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
Hey, Brad, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's good. I've been watching you, following you, watching your firm grow, get into things through LinkedIn mostly. LinkedIn's such a great platform just to hone out some of the noise that you get on Twitter or Instagram or something. For the most part, people stay on business. I have seen people with their kids in their pictures and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's all right, I guess, once in a while. But what do you think of using social media and LinkedIn to get messaging out?
I think social media has been great. I use LinkedIn a lot, as you know. I think LinkedIn's a great platform. I think a lot of what you see on there is up to date. It's instant, but it's also focused. So, I try to focus on my connections and stuff like that being in the pharmacy industry. And using that as a platform to engage with, clients or potential clients, and making sure that the information's out there. So I think if you're following good and reliable sources, it's a great way to know what's going on out there instantaneously.
I know. It's my sense of news in some ways, because I feel like my news comes from our profession. And the reason why I'm mentioning that, something came up with AstraZeneca that you actually posted something on, I read something on, and it was confusing to me, and I was excited as a lawyer that you got to come on and kind of give our listeners kind of an update about how you worked on that and what that meant.
Yeah, so recently there's been letters going out to pharmacies across the country from AstraZeneca making very threatening accusations about purchasing and basically demanding the pharmacies turn over information from PBMs and the wholesalers to justify the bottom line issue is AstraZeneca paid rebates to PBMs and they believe they overpaid, right? And so now they're going to come after the pharmacies and say, where are your purchases here, right? We paid all these rebates. And so those letters are coming out. There was an initial round that came out back in the summer. The second round is out now. The second round letters are much, much more threatening. And, from a legal perspective, it's a very interesting issue because as a pharmacy, typically you don't have a direct contract with a manufacturer.
True.
And this is for sure true about AstraZeneca and these drugs that are coming out. And so, the issue becomes is what do you do as a pharmacy, right? Do you respond? Do you just hand over information to them? And that it's a very interesting issue, again, because you're not contracted.
Yeah.
So, and if you hand over that information, how do you do it? You could be violating, PHI, HIPAA. You could be violating your contracts with the PBMs generally.
Yep.
And so, knowing how to respond and what to do, and what it means for you if you don't respond, those are all important things that you should be probably talking to your legal counsel on.
Thank you for mentioning that and clarifying that, because I was just confused as to what was going on, and I saw a lot of talk about it. I found it on the news. The clarification is good. So
yeah, and just generally, I'll add on to that. This is something that we've been seeing more and more out of manufacturers now. And again, it's really the manufacturer's not paying you for the drug, right? You're paying your wholesaler, but the manufacturers are paying rebates and big rebates to PBMs, and so it's a concern over money, right? But we're seeing this tactic used by more and more manufacturers and sending these threatening letters to independent pharmacies, and knowing how to respond and what it means and what information they may have or they may not have. Considering the threats that they're making towards you, it's something to be dealt with seriously.
if an owner does have one of those letters or outreach from any manufacturer for that matter, should they reach out to you? I mean, is that a time to actually say, hey, we don't know what to do, we're just looking for some advice?
Yes, absolutely. And, sometimes that's a quick phone call, right? It's not, and it's something that can be dealt with quickly. Depending on the type of request, it may be something that you can respond to and might be okay. Or it may not be, right? And the seriousness of that, particularly if your pharmacy thinks that they may have an issue, you need to have proper legal advice and guidance on what those responses should be and what the implications of those responses may be. So, contacting a lawyer and just getting to know your rights. And, for us, I'm happy to help independent pharmacies. I do it all the time. Mm-hmm. And if I can give you a quick 5-minute advice, this is how to handle it, or you have or identifying that you have an issue, or that we do need to respond to this, and this is how we're going to do it. That's something that I'm happy to do and have a quick call with someone and just kind of walk them through what to expect, and then they make the decision, right? Yeah. As to how they want to proceed.
All right, what do you project? And this is just your opinion. So, but I'm curious. So, pharmacy benefit managers are going through changes, and they're good changes, definitely in my opinion. Pharmacies are now being contacted, especially the larger guys, to do direct relationships with the manufacturers. I think that that's going to continue. If that does continue, what's the dynamic there from a legal perspective? What should pharmacies be thinking about? If should they have a standard contract that they make the manufacturer sign, or is the manufacturer going to just be a Sherman tank and say, sign this or don't sign this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on the size of the manufacturer. Certainly from a manufacturer standpoint, if you're contracting with a lot of pharmacies, you're going to want a standard form that you use. And so that's going to be pushed down. Now, that being said, as an independent pharmacy, you need to know under those contracts what your rights and obligations are. And just because it's a big pharma, right, big manufacturer, it doesn't mean you should just sign the contract and not know what's in there. Unfortunately, that's what we've seen with PBMs, and that's where kind of why we are where we are sometimes. So, appropriate pushback, making sure you have appropriate rights and knowing what your rights are under those contracts as we see more of that model come out is important. And, pushing back and approaching it appropriately, I can say that we've done that. And, they're willing to negotiate.
Hey, listen, listeners, we are going to have Brad's contact information in the show notes. But Brad, if they're listening right now and they're like, hey, I'm a pharmacy owner, I want to talk to this firm, tell us how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, so you can reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn, as you know, so you can always reach out to me there via directly. If not, you can always contact me via email. My email is bgallagher@barclaydamon.com. And I'll give you my personal cell phone. It's 518-603-9608. Feel free to text me or give me a call. It's the easiest way and quickest way to get hold of me, and I'll get back to you pretty quickly.
Thanks so much for being on the show.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Scotty Sikes here at NCPA 2025. Scotty, it's good to see you.
Todd, always a pleasure.
I was saying I was excited to get you on the show, and I said to the marketing team, am I allowed to talk to Scotty now that you're famous talking to Mark Cuban and stuff like that?
Look, we're just here to help as many pharmacies as we can, Todd. You know that, so I'll talk to anybody.
Oh, I'm just kidding. I love that. I mean, that interview, we're actually going to be publishing that upcoming. And if you have not heard that interview, you can go out to just search Sikes and Company on YouTube. You'll probably find it out there. But what an opportunity to talk to somebody who is passionate about changing things, and same whole philosophy of what Sikes has done over the years and assuring the success of our community pharmacies based on your pathways that you create for them in accounting. Talk to me about that. Talk to me about your being here at the NCPA 2025. You seeing any trends? Are you seeing any growth where it's like, okay, now we need to start paying attention to the back office and the accounting of these organizations?
Well, some trends right now. Well, we have a whole list of trends, KPIs, key performance indicators, but things have been holding pretty steady for pharmacy the past couple years in terms of margin and things like that. But kind of what we're seeing now is pharmacies, really starting to branch out in other areas of revenue, which they have to do, unfortunately. It's just the game we're all playing here. But, we're seeing the MFP coming up soon, so there's some conversation around that. What's that mean for cash flow? And how to prepare for that. So that's kind of been a talking point here at this show. And really it remains to be seen what all is going to happen there. Nobody really knows. So we're just learning about it just as much as everybody else. So.
All right. So long-term care at home excites me because it's another way for people to grow revenue for services that they've already pretty much provided. There's some new standards that they're going to have to keep up with. How's that changing things with regards to just being good stewards of your business and accounting?
Well, I think, the pharmacies that are doing long-term care at home, that's a great thing. I mean, you wanted to get to 50, 100-plus patients to really see a difference in margin. But the pharmacies that are not involved in it, should consider it because you're already serving those clients or patients rather. And another reason they need to be getting into it is because the long-term care at home is not going away. I mean, these individuals are getting older. They're going to be staying at home. There's not enough beds. There's going to be more, there has to be more innovation and development and scale for these individuals in the years ahead, whatever that may look like. You're not just going to let these people just, wither and die at their home. So there's going to be some levels of service that are going to, come out of this, and payments, hopefully, reimbursements, things like that. So go ahead and get started in that and position your pharmacy to service those patients.
So if I'm a pharmacy owner, and I kind of know half of this answer, but not the other half, and that is there have been bolt-on businesses, for example, Happier at Home, where it's a standalone business that's owned by the pharmacy. It's a franchise, and then it works alongside almost as a partner, like you would with any home care agency, really. Long-term care at home, is that a business that you're saying, hey, maybe we should set up a different division or a different LLC, or is it all happening under the same umbrella?
You can do it separately. You could do its own LLC, get all the NPI numbers, all that good stuff. You can certainly do that separately. But most are just starting it under their current retail umbrella, and that's okay too. From an accounting tax standpoint, where I sit, it doesn't matter. From a legal standpoint, maybe those are some discussions with the pharmacy attorneys out there. That's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Scotty, what's the
future? By the way,
future?
The pharmacy attorneys, if you're not working with one, those are the ones you need to work with, not your local attorneys.
We just interviewed Barclay and Brad Gallagher, so they've really dialed into very specific things for pharmacy. I love it. And Fryer and Levitt, and then all these champions that are out there. But what's next? What do you think for where this is all going? Community pharmacy, I think we're at between 16 and 18,000 throughout the country. What do you think's next?
Oh man, that's a good question, Todd. I really don't know. I'm always an optimistic person, so I'm optimistic something happens in Congress, the president, in a positive manner for pharmacies. Something's got to break, because it's not like you can just lose all these independents and then patients are stuck.
Exactly.
So the more it gets, down that path, the more it's going to cause an issue and awareness over the issue. So I think momentum's on the side, so fixing the PBM side hopefully happens in the next year, 2 years or something. When Trump gets around to this topic, he picks and randomly just picks something for the day and he goes after it, and if he can focus on the PBM issue and then get Congress to kind of tag along with it, because there's some bills in there. Buddy Carter's got one he's sponsoring. That's a big step forward. But it's also at the same time, unfortunately, just the fill in the scripts is not a business model anymore. It's got to be those other things, which is great, because it opens up so many other doors for a pharmacy. Your pharmacies are getting patients in the door all day. You're touching these patients. There's a lot of different services and wellness type services you can add on to that somehow, some way. Find that niche in your market, because patients want it.
Yep.
They don't want to go to a CVS and wait in line. Or, they don't want to be a number. They want care. They want service. And so there's those opportunities there. You just gotta get after it.
Scotty, Sikes and Company. This has been wonderful to have some time with you here at the NCPA. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, thank you, Todd. Always a pleasure.
David Kirkus, we got to stop meeting like this. We're the only time we see each other are at conferences.
Well, if we're at a pharmacy conference together, that means there's something good going on.
That's true.
Always happy to run into you at one of these shows.
I know. PrimeRx has been a client member of the Pharmacy Podcast Network for about 2 years. Excellent content coming out of the team. You and I have sat down several times and talked about different things that are being enhanced and changing and growing. One of the most exciting things for me, someone who was in pharmacy software in the beginning of my career in pharmacy, is now the integration of the marketplace inside the system, so that there's nothing slowed down in workflow. It's all interconnected. I want you to describe that to our listeners that are filling prescriptions, and now they have access to product in the workflow.
Yeah, we're super excited about the direction our marketplace is going, and now fully integrated into PrimeRx software. So if you're using our pharmacy management system, filling scripts all day long, we're now directly connected with PrimeRx Market, which is our marketplace. It's an e-commerce platform where you can buy pharmaceuticals direct from about 45 secondary wholesalers. And so bringing that into workflow really takes the really simple experience of searching and buying at a really good price on our site and makes it completely seamless within your day-to-day workflow. No more searching, no more pivoting out, no more separate logins. Literally every script you're filling in workflow, we do a real-time lookup of the drug on the marketplace and immediately return the best price available for that drug right now. no rebates, no GCRs, no commitments. It's just buy the best product at the best price right now and pay one net cost. That's going to save. I mean, we see pharmacies shifting 5 to 10% of their purchases over to the marketplace, saving $10,000+ per month. It's real.
Incredible.
It's life-changing money that you can save, and now you don't even have to think. You just the search is done, the price is there. One click, you put the product into your cart, and your order comes the next day. So we're excited about it. Just launched a couple weeks ago, and happy to talk to you and the rest of the pharmacy world about it.
Happily to have you talk about it. Just returned from the PrimeRx Explore user conference in Jersey City. I was very proud to be part of that. Was so impressed with the organization. Like I said, a first-time conference never comes off as well as you guys had it doing, so shout out to the marketing team. The reason why I was excited about that show is it gave us an opportunity to speak to more of the business of pharmacy and how technology is now becoming, it almost disappears behind the scenes where it's just working as you would intended. Whereas, back in the day, it was all about, is the API working? Is this over here working? And so the seamlessness of PrimeRx, it's come such a long way, and it's great to hear the testimonies of your clients when I was there. We're going to have a multi-part series coming out from that conference in a podcast form where we interviewed some people. So excited to be a part of this. What about NCPA? What's happening here? What are you looking forward to engaging with pharmacy owners? Talk to us a bit about being here in New Orleans.
Yeah, I think the show has been fantastic. We're thrilled with the turnout, and both with the pharmacy owners' participation and the variety of vendors here. A lot of real cutting-edge solutions that we see. I've made connections here for things that we'll take back and think about, that got my wheels turning for things that you just don't necessarily think about unless you're out on the floor talking to people. And a lot of great things going on. It's a hard time in retail pharmacy right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's margins are thinner than ever. I was at a pharmacy last week looking at a list of all transactions filled from the previous day, and the first 80% of those transactions sorted by profitability are all underwater. And so you have an owner who is trying to keep his head above water, relying on enough profit from 20% of the business he conducts every day to try to pull ahead of break even. And it's just there's so much, everything is so opaque economically for retail pharmacies, and we're trying to do all we can to make it easier for pharmacists in particular to spend less time managing the financials of the pharmacy and more time focused on patient care with things like our marketplace, with the integrations that we have with so many different vendors. So we can, we have solutions for anything that you want to do through our platform, either directly embedded in workflow or through an API with all of the various solutions providers that we work with. And, I think more than anything, shopping competitively for pharmaceuticals is really, obviously I'm biased, responsible for the market at PrimeRx, but we hear it all the time. We heard it from Mark I at our concert, at our event last week, talking about, he came out of the event saying, if there's one thing you leave this event with, is go start shopping on the market so you can save money and put that money back into your time as a pharmacist, your patients, the level of care you're able to provide, the investments in your business to take on new opportunities. You want to start a new immunization service or long-term care at home or whatever the opportunity is, use our tools to free up your time so you can invest in those additional services, and then use our resources on the purchasing side to bring in, to save money. You're floating loans to your primary wholesaler, waiting for rebates, when the overall net cost of goods is still most likely higher post-rebate than it would be just buying the same product cheaper direct from one of the wholesalers we have on our marketplace. So a lot of great things going on, and we're just getting started.
David Kirkus, PrimeRx. Great to have you on the NCPA 2025 show. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Todd. Always great to see you.
with Evan Walker, what, P3, P2?
I'm a P3.
P3 at the University of Pittsburgh. Go Steelers.
Go Steelers.
Tell us what your future plans are in the pharmacy field.
My future plans in the world of pharmacy. I'm at a community pharmacy convention. I guess I'd be obligated to say community, but I guess it's not even an obligation. I love community. I couldn't tell you exactly where that is, but as long as it gives me a space where I can work with people that in a place where I grew up with and being able to make connections with those people, I'm going to be happy.
Evan, this is your first time at the NCPA. We're here in New Orleans, NCPA 2025. What's your feeling of the conference so far? The whole vibe of this is the Super Bowl of independent community pharmacy.
It's the Super Bowl of independent pharmacy. It's so neat being able to see people from all across the country come together. You know, it really just shows pharmacists are only kind of Pittsburgh, which I knew, but across the country as well. Just seeing this network of everybody being able to come together and speak with each other, have the similar passions. It's just been so wonderful to see.
Evan, thanks for being on the show. We hope that you're a subscriber now to the PPN.
Oh, of course.